Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. Really glad that you're here today, as I'm always happy that you're here today. And it's a very special program because anytime we have the two people that have done more for my attention deficit disordered brain, Dr. Sheri Keffer and Dr. Daniel Amen, are on the program. And first, I'll say hello to you, Sheri. Hi.
Hey, it's great to be with you as always. And then the man who loved on your brain to make it even better than it was in the first place. The man, the myth, the legend.
Dr. Daniel Amen is on with us today, and he's got an amazing book called Your Brain is Always Listening. And so be aware of that. But Dr. Amen, welcome. And I want to talk to you about your book before we take some phone calls at 1-800-229-3000. But hi, how are you today?
Hello, my friend. I am awesome and keeping busy, out of trouble. The dragons are not breathing fire today on my emotional brain.
There you go.
Good.
Well, I got a question for you. You do list these 10 bad habit dragons, and one I want to talk about a little bit on this program is that dragon of procrastination. But help us bridge the gap between getting a scan of your brain and understanding it that way to how do we impact and change the bad habit? How do we go from the scan to being a new man is kind of what I'm looking at there.
Well, our habits are created by our brain. And if our brain is not healthy, then we're much more likely to procrastinate, to have a short attention span, to be impulsive, to be conflict seeking. And what I learned 30 years ago when I first started looking at the brain is if you get your brain right, well, your mind tends to be better. But how do you know unless you look? It's this craziness I live in where most psychiatrists never look at the brain and they think they can make diagnoses based on symptom clusters with no biological data. Oh, by the way, that's how they diagnosed Lincoln with depression in 1840. We can do better. And the scans tell us, is it underactive? Is it overactive? Has it been hurt? Are you living in a toxic environment like mold? I now have 50 COVID scans. And COVID actually surprised me. It tends to activate your emotional brain, which puts people more at risk for anxiety and depression. And you just want to fall in love with your brain. I think when I scanned you, it's like, oh, we have to make this better. And you then act differently toward your brain.
That's right. Well, I know when I came in to visit with you, I was expecting hey, looks great, so glad you came in, and you were going to tell me what kind of attention deficit disorder problem I might have had. But it wasn't good, and I had to make some changes. And whenever we make these changes, some of them are kind of painful in the beginning, but you feel so good about yourself to become a brain warrior. If you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. Dr. Amen's book, Your Brain is Always Listening. So are the people in the apartment next door through the wall, probably. And so you want to be sure that you're doing a good job at living here. And we'll help you with that at 1-800-229-3000. So glad you're here today with Dr. Sheri Keffer and Dr. Daniel Amen. When we come back, I have to tell you about a press release that I got that might be the coolest press release I've ever read. We'll be back after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity. My needs to be met. connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Sheri Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Sheri Keffer. They are here with me, and we want to be with you. 1-800-229-3000. I got a press release today, and I just absolutely love it. It's put out by Prison Fellowship, and it says that they have just given away their 100,000th Bible to prisoners. Now, why do I think that's so amazing? Well, the Bible they give away is the Life Recovery Bible, and they are saying some really wonderful things about this Bible. In fact, here's what the head of Prison Fellowship said. James Ackerman, he says this: "We're beyond excited that these transforming Life Recovery Bibles are going to these men and women, many of whom are struggling with the power of addiction, which costs them their freedom, their health, their relationships, and their hope. But the healing power of the gospel is priceless and can bring freedom from the bondage of addiction." I don't know of anybody in prison that can't benefit from a character-building program like the 12 Steps. Surely everybody's going to be recovering or needs to recover from something. If you want a Life Recovery Bible, you can get that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I am going to the calls, and we're going to start with Cindy from Los Angeles, California, and listening on KKLA. Here is Cindy. Hi there. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Excellent. How could we help you? We do want to help you. What's going on?
Well, I'm here with my husband, and I just wanted to try and figure out. We have a 23-year-old daughter. She is living out of the home right now, actually, with her boyfriend. She was raised in the church. She was very involved in Young Life and other organizations, and in high school started struggling with anxiety, depression, was on medication, and still is. And since, I don't know, probably for the last couple years, she's just kind of been going downhill. And when COVID hit, it kind of sent her in a tailspin, just a lot of isolation. She was working for a while and then lost that job. And now in the last 3 months with our wonderful unemployment, she's been able to, stay home and collect that money and pretty much isolate herself from everything. And she's smoking pot daily, and we just had an episode where she went away for a family gathering, and she just couldn't handle it. I mean, I think the isolation has just, kept going, and she had a meltdown and was throwing up. It was a mess. So it kind of boiled over.
Okay.
So we're just wondering at this point, she's 23. What can we do with that?
Yeah. One quick question, and then I'll go to Sheri and then Dr. Amen to see what he's thinking. But obviously, you're talking about her being raised in a Christian home and all of this, and she's living with her boyfriend and smoking pot every day. Did you see anything, or do you remember anything specific that caused this absolute rejection of the way she'd been brought up? Was there an incident or a time or anything like that?
Well, she she had, in high school, there was a sexual abuse encounter that we dealt with. Other than that, I think more recently it's being involved with leadership in our church and Young Life, and I just think she's just been kind of seen some things that have made her kind of question her, I don't know, her affiliation with the church and that kind of thing.
Okay, before I go to Sheri, just one more question, and that is, when this sexual thing happened, what kind of help did she get back then?
She's been in therapy, and that was quite a while ago. And I feel like she kind of came out of that. I know it's still, we still talk about it on occasion. It still sometimes comes up, but I think therapy has been really good. She did some EMDR for that, and I think that has helped her. So.
All right. Well, we'll hear what Sheri has to say here, and then we'll hear from Dr. Amen what might help you find some kind of connection back to her, you and your husband. Sheri, you have a thought?
Yeah. Hey, Cindy. It can feel so disorienting when you've got a great kid, and particularly a great kid that has all the potential in the world, and then something happens and everything goes sideways. I think a lot of times when we think about the prodigal son, right, we look at that son that left into this place, and I think we tend to look at the dad and we look at the brother and we wonder what was wrong with them. But when we really think about the prodigal, sometimes prodigals get that way because of tremendous pain. And I've worked with young ladies who have had like a rape in their teenage years in high school, and what that does to the brain is phenomenal in a very life-saving sort of way. That brain gets turned up. It's called kindling. When I was a young girl, I went to Bluebirds and then Girl Scouts, and we used to go start fires, right? And one of the things we'd do is we'd have to go out and pick up pine needles and pine cones to start that fire. That's called kindling. Well, the brain, when there's a sexual abuse situation, sexual assault situation, that brain gets turned up. And she may have, through therapy, done some really good work, and I do EMDR, and I love that. And yet, there still may be some brain residue. There still may be, her brain may be too anxiously turned up still. It may be struggling with some feelings of sadness around that event and then COVID, because she's self-medicating with the marijuana. And I just love that you called today when Dr. Amen's here, because like he said in the beginning, when we first he saw Steve's brain, and I got a sneak peek as well, right? There was some things that needed to change. Steve started looking at his brain differently, but when the intervention happened with his brain, Steve's brain started treating Steve differently. And I think your daughter's brain needs to get some additional help so it can treat her better, right? Yeah. There's a relationship there. Dr. Amen, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Oh, my goodness. So many thoughts. I'm seeing COVID isolation just attack this young generation. The incidence of anxiety and depression is actually the highest in early 20-somethings because their whole life has been turned upside down. There is no influence. Cindy, you should write this down. You have no influence without connection. So protect the connection with her. I mean, it'd be great if we could see her. I have a clinic in Encino, just north of Los Angeles, because when people see their brains, I mean, one of the reasons I fell in love with scans was teenagers would come and they'd deny they were smoking pot. But you could see the toxicity in their scan. And when I'm like, well, what about the toxicity? Then their eyes would go down and they go, you won't tell my parents. And the problem with marijuana, society just thinks it's no big deal. But the brain thinks it's a big deal because it'll decrease her motivation and help her in the short run, but create all sorts of problems in the long run. It's associated with worse anxiety, worse depression, even suicidal behavior. So we want to help her fall in love with her brain so she can then do the right things to lower her anxiety. I mean, simple things like L-theanine from green tea, or GABA, or learning how to not believe every stupid thing you think, or I mean, there are just so many techniques I talk about in Your Brain Is Always Listening, but it starts with fall in love with your brain. And then every day you ask yourself, is this good for my brain or bad for it? And if we can get her to put marijuana in the bad parts, then she can do some of the good things to see if that won't be helpful to her. But always protect your relationship with her. And then, and I hate saying this, I don't. I love saying this. You have to model the message. But the reason I said I hate saying this is so many parents of 20-somethings are smoking pot with them. Stop that. It's like, no. You know, I've just seen, you know, it happened with my generation. But it's like, come on, we have to do better. Because ultimately, when you model the message of brain health, other people will want what you have. But I think she sounds like she's in trouble. And so, you know, hopefully getting her to one of our clinics could be really helpful. When you see your brain, you just begin to develop a relationship with it, and then you can ask yourself this question: is this good for my brain or bad for it?
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking might be an angle for you and your husband, is that you probably have the better connection with her. And so you say to her, we were able to talk to a psychiatrist about what we could do to help you, because, you know, the last time you went out of town, you had this breakdown and kind of threw up and all this stuff and fetal position and all that went with it. And we want to help you with that. And he has recommended something that has never happened before. No one's ever looked at your brain. And he's there's no judgment, there's no weak, no strong. And we want to take you to one of these clinics and let them look at your brain and see what they see and how it could be helped, so that you're not at age 36 having these panic attacks or whatever, meltdowns, and throwing up and all of that. Now, I can only think of one reason for her to say no, and that is because she gets a great benefit from melting down in front of people, gets the attention that she demands when that happens. But I think that might be, Sheri, you have any thoughts here? I'm thinking that might be the best angle, is to say we've talked to this world-renowned psychiatrist about, and his clinic, they want to look at your brain.
You know, I love what Dr. Amen said about connection. I've had a situation very similar to this where I worked with a mom and a daughter, and there was a lot of stuff like this going on, and that connection was the lifeline. And even if this moment she's not ready, right, to take that step, don't let that discourage you. This is the long game with her. It's the long game. And painfully, there may be some things, some consequences that happen. Right now, right, she's getting this stipend, and in her mind, life is good. But life isn't always going to be good. And so when you play the long game, there will be a time that this will make a lot of sense to her. And when it does, she'll maintain a relationship with you, and she'll be ready to say yes. Try to stay out of anger, try to stay out of judgment, try to stay out of that trying to fix and control parent place, because they kind of move away from that.
Okay.
Appeal,
so here's what
love.
Planting, I just want to say it's like planting seeds, just like you said. And tomorrow, I am actually on Dr. Phil, and that and we have a really powerful show with actress Annalyn McCord. So if you could get her to watch, it'll at least destigmatize what we do. And, everybody should watch the show. Tomorrow is a very special show.
Well, I tell you, if it was my daughter, I would be saying, you need to watch Dr. Phil tomorrow. The psychiatrist that's on there, we've had a discussion with, and I want us to get help from the clinics that he has. I can't imagine. I mean, that's so good to hear that. I'm going to send you, because of the past trauma, Intimate Deception by Dr. Sheri Keffer, and then I'll send you Your Brain is Always Listening. And I really hope for the best. I want to follow up, see what happens. But what a great thing that you can say the person we talked to is with Dr. Phil tomorrow. We'll be back right after this for more New Life Live.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online May 1st. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Stephen Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us here today. Dr. Amen is with us, Dr. Sheri Keffer. And you can watch this on YouTube right now on the New Life Live YouTube channel. We would love for you to see that. For a gift of any amount, I'll send you this amazing book, Creatures of Habit. Fits with what Dr. Amen is doing right here today. And call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Everything you give is matched. Really excited about the matching gift. Let's go to, how about we talk with Kathy, Falls Church, Virginia, listens on WAVA. Hi, Kathy. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Excellent. How could we help today? We really would like to do that.
Yes. I'm 62 now, but when I was 12 or 13, I had a concussion, and it caused me to go blind for about 12 hours. Because my mother was very narcissistic and abusive, she refused to take me to the hospital. She also was a Christian Scientist, so she refused to take me to the hospital. It was only later that my sister, who became a nurse practitioner, said that I had had a concussion.
Wow.
Okay.
So, pardon?
I said, wow. I mean, to have a kid have a concussion at that age and then go blind and have a mother not drive you immediately to the emergency room.
Horrific.
It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I was very sick, and she let me go to sleep.
Oh boy. So what's the question
Yeah.
today? Are you wondering how it's impacted you today, or?
Well, yeah. Later, I was diagnosed. I mean, I've been diagnosed with a lot of things like deep, major depressive disorder, PTSD, bipolar, with and my latest diagnosis was schizoaffective disorder.
Okay.
And I've been on so many medications. I've been hospitalized twice. And by the way, the first time I was hospitalized, I was in the program with Minner Meyer.
Okay. So what's
way
the
back.
question for
But
Dr.
anyway-
Amen today? How do you want him to help you today?
I just wondered, could that incident have caused the mental illness? Could a concussion of that magnitude cause mental illness?
Okay. Dr. Amen, what are your thoughts here when you hear a very, very sad story?
So we're now at 183,000 scans that we've done on patients from 150 countries. And if you asked me, hey, Daniel, what's the single most important thing you've learned from the world's largest brain imaging database? Mild traumatic brain injury ruins people's lives. And nobody knows about it because most psychiatrists actually never look at the brain. Based on symptoms, they'll diagnose you with depression, PTSD, bipolar disorder, schizoaffective disorder. They'll give you many different medications, but unless they know that you've had a traumatic brain injury that needs to be repaired, they'll label you with things that shame you, that sort of make it your fault, when the organ that creates your mood, your relationships, how you manage your money, how you perform at work, got hurt. And I did the big NFL study at a time when the NFL was sort of not telling the truth about traumatic brain injury in football. We saw high levels of damage. But the exciting news was 80% of our players got better when we put them on a brain rehabilitation program. Your brain has not been acting right. And so if you could image it, I have a clinic actually very close to you in Reston, Virginia. If we could image it and then work to optimize it or repair it, odds are you're going to need less medicine. Doesn't mean no medicine. And odds are you're going to function better. And yes, that serious concussion you had when you were 12 could have negatively impacted the next 50 years of your life. But the exciting thing, I mean, some of my NFL players were 80 years old when I first saw them, and they still got better. So no matter what age you are, you want to work on work on understanding your brain. That's where the scans come in, and then optimizing it.
Okay. I really hope that's helpful.
Can I just
Go
say
ahead.
something?
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to hasten to say I'm on 0 medication now. I mean, because of my relationship with the Lord, He has healed me. I mean, is it possible the brain can self-heal? Or, because,
I went to Oral Roberts University. So Reverend Roberts was a big proponent of faith healing. And faith matters. But biology matters too. And I'm grateful you're not on any medication.
Yeah. And not that medication is not helpful. And I mean, it is helpful in some circumstances. We don't want anybody to be on medication that doesn't need it. But God does heal. But if you think God healed you and then the symptoms come back, then maybe it's time to look at something else. There's nothing negative about you. It's just sometimes we think one way and we need to be thinking another. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'm going to send a copy of Your Brain is Always Listening to Kathy. We'll be back.
my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Attention Deficit Disorder and Understanding and Loving a Person with Sexual Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we're glad you're with us here today. I want to mention this. August the 14th, we have added an emotional freedom online workshop. Why? Well, we sold out. We couldn't get any more people in. The demand was so great. So if you want to be part of something that really helped a lot of people, whether it's loneliness, depression, anxiety, anger, bitterness, emotional freedom, Chris Williams and I are going to do that on August the 14th, and that's an online workshop. It's called Emotional Freedom. Speaking of speaking of freedom, Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio, and he has helped a lot of people experience freedom. Larry, what do you have for us today?
Steve, it's another mention of the matching gift that we need to fulfill, that you folks need to help us with. We reached 10% of it has been matched overnight. So we're at $434,000 left to go. It's a lot. We want to get it done by May 31. Not we want to, that's our deadline. So remember, every gift you give, it will release that much money from the funds that are on hold right now that we can't touch. So please make a gift. I want to, and you can do it by text. You can just text the word match to 28950, 28950. Text the word match. I'm trying to make it easy for you.
Go ahead. But it's so important because it's a lot in a fund that they wanted to be sure other people would come along and match it, and they'll release it. We release it as it comes in. This radio time is so expensive, but so valuable. I wish you could hear some of the comments that people say just about what it has meant to them. When Dave Stoop died, I got these notes and letters, and one was so meaningful. That whenever Dave was on the radio and I heard his voice, I just knew everything was going to eventually be okay.
Aww.
What a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But Dave wouldn't have had that impact if it hadn't been for New Life Live. So help us with that alone. Larry, what else you got?
Well, you just led right into this perfectly. The lady said about our radio program. Thanks for honoring God and teaching and applying God's word to our lives. Thank you for explaining what abuse is and how to deal, reveal, and heal from it. The standards and boundaries for healthy living you teach have helped me very much on my road to recovery from a 20-year marriage to a narcissist. And now giving back to New Life is pure joy. And my condolences also for the loss of our dear Dr. Stoop. My prayers are with you all and with Dr. J. She signs off.
Aww,
wonderful,
so
wonderful. Please help us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
if without your help, we don't have the people gave this gift. That's what I wanted to say. The people gave this gift, not just to give a gift, they gave it with a condition. And the condition was that you go find the other folks that are listening to your program to match, to give gift that releases the money. So it wasn't just a friend thing, and it's not just a gimmick for us to give, to encourage you to give. It's what these folks really felt from their hearts. We love what you do. We want to help, and we think this is the way we can help.
Wow.
So thank you very much.
Now's the time.
New Life. Yep. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Larry.
Alrighty.
Please help us. That's the number. Let's go to Steve from Longwood, Florida, and he watches on YouTube. Hi, Steve. How are you today?
Hi, great. I'm so happy to be on with each of you. Thankful for what you do. Love the show, and I learn every time that I listen.
Well, what's going on in your life today that we could help you with? We'd love to help.
Oh, thank you. I have a wonderful 11-year-old daughter, and I'm trying to help her with the situation regarding, well, the basis of it, I guess, is regarding school. She's having a struggle right now related to math. She's very, I'd say, anxious and nervous about upcoming standardized tests.
Okay.
And they had a pretest for it, and she just, at school, and she just shut down and just could not, in her words, her mind just went blank.
Okay.
And so I've brought her some materials to help her work on it, a workbook, an online program. The situation, though, is, from what I see, is as soon as she sees that she might not know how to do a problem, she seems to get upset right away. I've asked her, how does she feel at that time? How does she feel at the test? And when I ask her those questions, I get words back like scared, afraid I'm not going to know the answer, I'm going to be embarrassed because I'm not going to do well. She says she's afraid she's going to bomb her test and not be able to go on to the next, she have to repeat math.
Yeah. Okay, let me interrupt you, Steve. First of all, I want to say, wow, I'm so happy you're so engaged with her in the homework. But give us a question that we could answer. Is it just how to help her deal with the anxiety, or what is the question?
It's really a two-pronged question. One, and this is just a my part, is there in some way a left brain, right brain thing going on where she's looking at something that's mathematical, but she has all these emotions going on right away of being so nervous and scared that the other part of the brain can't engage to even really do the math.
And what's the other question?
And so how can I, and of course, how can I help her through this? The other part is, because some of these sessions can get tension-filled and she's already upset, and if she sees me, then start to get frustrated, it goes downhill. I'm wondering if, for the sake of our relationship, should I back out and not be the one to tutor her, or should I just learn I should be her, as her dad, help to guide her through it, but do it in a more, effective way.
Well, I'm going to start with Dr. Amen on the anxiety, and then we'll come back to Dr. Sheri Keffer on whether or not you should be tutoring her or how you could help her in another way. But Dr. Amen, what do you think here? I mean, 11 years old and shuts down over anxiety with math, especially when she doesn't know how to do the problem. What do you think?
Well, it totally reminds me of my 38-year-old daughter, Brianne. Beautiful, sweet, but she really struggled in school. And I actually had her tested, and the psychologist basically told me she wasn't that smart. And it wasn't until 10th grade when she fell apart, I scanned her and found she had something we call inattentive ADD and never had gotten an A in her life. And when I treated her ADD with medicine, the next 10 years, straight A's, got into the University of Edinburgh's veterinarian school. And so, one, I wonder about her brain and why she struggled learning. I have a book for kids called Captain Snout. and the superpower questions, that we don't teach kids how to manage their minds, how to kill the ants, the automatic negative thoughts that are stealing her happiness. And so some emotional management techniques and a little bit of therapy could really help her manage her anxiety. So is it a brain issue? Is it a mind issue? I mean, yes, some of us were born and we can do math, and some of us, it's just not our thing. We'd much rather decorate a room. So, I mean, there are strengths. I would make sure for you are curious about what's going on, never furious. You act like a good coach, and you encourage her, and you make sure you talk to her teachers to get her the help she needs. Often when people don't have the basics down, they get lost and overwhelmed. So I think dealing with it at 11 is way better than dealing it at 22 when she's using, as we talked about earlier, marijuana to manage her anxiety.
Sheri, you have a thought here.
I do. Is she doing well in other classes, Steve, or is this the only class?
She's actually getting A's in all her other classes, and she's actually doing well in math. It's just whenever she struggles with something, her grade isn't bad in the class. She's actually getting an A in there. But when it comes to the test, she just freezes up.
Well, you know what's you know what's interesting? I think you have a really bright daughter. And I don't know what her stress is about. I think, so I don't know if you know this, but I have a learning disability, and I was one of those kids that struggled in two different things, reading and math. And I think there's a lot of girls that are very smart, and yet their brain struggles more around the math. I felt a lot of pressure when I was in school to have to perform. And one of the things that helped me and embarrassed me at the same time, but I think it helped me more than embarrassed me, is I was just given extra time on testing. And it was something that was arranged at the school because I had so much anxiety. I watched the kids and I would look at them, the ones that would get up first. You know, they would get done and lickety-split. And I was always the last kid on tests, and I just developed some anxiety around that. But taking a little bit more time was good for me. And you know what? She might really prefer you as a daddy and to get a different tutor.
We'll be back.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and just a final note here, and I do want to send you, your brain's always listening, that may give you some insight into your daughter, but this sounds like a great time to get her and the school counselor and a special program together so that they can literally give her more time, if nothing else, but to treat her personally here. Let's go. If you'll hold on, we've got another program right after this, but let's go to Renee, Denver, Colorado. KRKS is the station. Renee, you're on with Dr. Sheri Keffer and Dr. Daniel Amen. How could we help you here today?
I am so glad that I happened to call when Dr. Amen is there.
Me too.
I'm calling. I'm calling with a specific question, and I'll give you the question first, but then I'd like to give the background of my 3 grandchildren. I'm raising 3 grandchildren, and my question is, is there anything that I haven't been doing that can spiritually help with children who have already gotten into pornography? That's the real question.
Okay.
So the background is I have been raising my 3 grandsons for 13 years. Except the little one is he's 11, so he wasn't there at first. So we're sort of old school parents, and like for instance, the 2 older are about to turn 60, and they still don't have phones of their own. They can use mine all they want, but they don't have their own phones.
Okay.
So I have been very adamant to try to keep the possibilities of getting on inappropriate information down. They are avid readers. They all have ADHD. They all have trauma, real early trauma in their history, and they all have spectrum issues. One of them is medically diagnosed autism, and the other 2, they have IEPs that focus on their autistic issues.
Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to turn this right on over there to Dr. Amen. Did you get that specific question, Dr. Amen?
What she can do spiritually to help kids who may be into porn.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, boy, this is a huge societal issue that we're not talking about enough. That when developing male brains are exposed to porn, it wears out their pleasure centers. It increases their risk of being diagnosed with ADHD, being diagnosed with depression, and raises their risk for other addictions. And it's just so available. So I actually applaud that you don't give them access to phones or to devices where they can even get around parental controls. So you have the right thought, supervision and prayer, and also staying up with the latest technology to protect your kids. There's an institute out of Phoenix, I'll try and look it up, a former FBI agent that actually trains parents on how to do this.
I know I have a...
Stroman is her... Lisa Stroman is a psychologist attorney who, if you look her up, she can actually get you more information on that.
Could I tell you some of the things that I've already done?
We are... You give us a couple of things because we're just about out of time.
And I guess I just want to ask one question. Is there a male in their life? Is there a grandfather, or is there kind of a father surrogate? Where's the guy?
There's several guys. I have made sure they are all in tune with this. My husband does work 65 hours a week, so he's not that available as far as this. They have a mentor that's been helping us from our church we got them, and they do have, they go to youth groups, and they go to a daily program at school that is now monitoring them. I also contacted their school. They took away the Chromebook, and they required the oldest one, who was the one who I caught with it, to come into the school and be monitored every day.
Okay. All right. So there are a lot of things you have done. And Sheri, what is your final comments?
Well, I think a lot. There's the book called Parenting in the Digital World by Clayton Crandon. He was on New Life a couple years ago. I think we had him on. For some reason, I think sometimes we ask a spiritual question when really what we're looking for is a relational solution. And I am all about praying and inviting the Lord into this. But when I think about 3 boys that are special needs, that are dealing with brains that are already vulnerable and having a propensity, it just makes me want them to be around more time with more honest men, like this mentor, that can really just honestly sit down and talk with the boys about the real struggle of being a guy and about their body parts and about how they work and helping to guide them through learning the benefits. I love Clayton Cranford is a dad of boys, and in his book he actually gives some of the language to talk about, because I think when a kid's feeling monitored, it still feels sneaky. When they're feeling educated to what it does, they can grow from that.
Well, I wish we had more time. I am going to do this, though. I'm going to send you Every Young Man's Battle. It's helped a lot of folks. I'll send you Preparing Your Son for Every Young Man's Battle also. I think that could be helpful. When I was raising Madeline, I was the primary parent there. She lived with me. On her 16th birthday, we had a little dinner, 6 different women that I'd brought along to try to do for her what Sheri's saying to do for these boys. Get those men, more men than just a dad, into their lives. We're going to do another program after this, and the phone number is 1-800-229-3000. Dr. Daniel Amen will be there. His book, Your Brain is Always Listening. You can get that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. A gift of any amount, and I'll send you the book we've been talking about, The Creatures of Habits book, and that's by Steve Poe. And that book talks about the things underneath the things, like anger, lust, things like that. Those habits that lead to some really destructive things. This Saturday, we can help you with some very destructive things, like pornography and lust. We can help you begin the process of making it right after you betrayed a woman. Every Man's Battle is this Saturday. It's online. It's easy to access. You don't travel, but it is amazing the kind of direction change that so many men have. If you're tired of being the little boy, bad little boy looking at dirty pictures, whether you're caught or not, or you've got to get out of that affair, this could be it. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you're married to someone and or you're dating someone, they need to do this, you call us and we'll help you get them there this Saturday, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Don't forget our matching gift, and also don't forget that if whatever you want to talk about, whatever the need is, you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. People are there. Every day I do a podcast called Going Deeper. We're going to be going deeper. Next month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And then on Thursday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time on the NRB Network is my television show, Life Recovery Today. Join me for that. But right now, call us if you can help us or we can help you, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.